Hey guys, this is NASCAR driver Matt DiBenedetto, and you are tuned into Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. Stay tuned as the guys dive into the highly contested topic of flat Earth, and keep an open mind as they take you down to the bottom of the rabbit hole.
Welcome into Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. Sitting in today, here we go again. We're going to cross the bridge. Uncle Mike told me don't talk about flat Earth. For some reason, this is one of them topics that is so controversial that it's worse than playing Monopoly, almost. So we're gonna find out what this board thinks. I hope everybody brought some evidence and some talking points. We're gonna get in here and find out: is it round or is it flat? Twist. Is it round or flat, man?
I don't know, man. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Are you leaning one way or the other?
No, I'm not.
Really?
I really don't have an opinion on it. I've seen evidence for and against, and I'm interested to see what y'all have to say about it.
Okay. Jamie, which way are you leaning, man?
I think I'm leaning more toward flat.
Really? Mm-hmm. Jeff, you got any preconceived?
Well, sometimes I lean one way, sometimes I lean the other, so that kind of makes me feel like I'm on a ball. But I really don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Josh, you got any way to lean?
It's a sphere, bro. We have an equator and two hemispheres. We're on a sphere.
Brian, did I sit you on the right side of the table today?
Yeah, you got. Yeah, I think we're split up. You know where I mean. I'm round. I relate it to like a theory of probability, and everything I look at comparable is round. Is it flat? I'm open to all. I'm open to the debate, right? But if I have to pick one or the other, I'm gonna say round.
What about you, bro?
Yeah.
I'm 50-50. Oh, we got a phone call coming in on the rabbit hole line. Caller, come on in. You want to weigh in on this flat Earth for us?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. The Encyclopedia Britannica, up until about, I don't know, I think it was 1911, clearly pushed the flat Earth thing. And then there was also, there's also a couple things in the Encyclopedia Britannica after that pushed towards the flat Earth, theory.
Okay.
And I was just wondering, I do a little research myself, and I was just wondering how come some people say that there is no 1958 Encyclopedia Britannica. And, it's perplexing at the least.
So something was changed at some point is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There is definitely some discrepancies.
Is it an accepted statement that just because our society is more recent that we are correct in our thinking?
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how to answer that, because, for thousands and thousands of years, everybody thought the world was flat. And then Universal Studios comes out and makes a commercial, I guess you could call it, or
Are we talking about the moon landing now? Did we just go moon landing?
No, not the moon landing. Not the moon landing. No, Universal Studios, the movie company, they were the first person or the first company to actually put something out there as a spherical Earth, and now it's accepted.
Okay.
I got a question on that.
Okay. Brian has a question for you, Robbie.
That was the 1958 Encyclopedia Britannicas.
1958?
Yeah.
I found a set on eBay for $110.
Well, let's buy it.
All right.
Let's buy it and check into it.
It's a book. They're all books of different subjects, though. So what would it be like the Earth or the e-book, or were they lettered? Weren't they lettered?
They are lettered.
I wasn't alive back then, so I don't know.
I kind of feel like it would be either Earth or maybe something to do with planetary.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we'll look into that and get back with you, man. Get back to doing what you're doing. We appreciate you.
Got disconnected. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I guess we need to look into that. And are you wanting to see if the claims are true, that it was in there that way? Is that what you're looking at?
I mean, I don't want to bog the show down. I got some other stuff, I think, but it's definitely, hey, these shows kind of spark thoughts, and, that's a new thought for me. they rewrote the book. you know, like
You can pull that. You can definitely pull those encyclopedias up without buying them.
oh yeah, sure, yeah. But
You'll
he
be
said
doing
that they
that,
weren't for. I think he insinuated that they don't exist. Like,
Well, they're just not as common, I'm sure.
Right.
So
okay,
it'd be interesting to see on that, though, for sure. Uh-oh, we got another phone call coming in on the rabbit hole line. Caller, come on line with us there.
Yeah, I wanted to know what you guys thought about how a compass would work on a round Earth.
Okay.
It points north, south, east, and west.
Yeah, that might work on a piece of paper, but how would that work on an actual round Earth? If you're on the bottom, what's north? Or if you're on the top, what's north? And it don't work like that.
so you're saying if you're already north, there's nowhere else for it to point to.
Yeah, or if
So
you're on
just
the
spin.
side of it, like you'll be sticking straight out the side. But what's north then? Like north can't be up.
I think that argument could go both ways.
Well, if we're saying that that's disproving round Earth, if flat Earth is still round, which direction is north on a flat Earth?
I'd say that would be the center. That would make sense. Because then if you went to the west or east, you could go around in a big circle and you'd still end up in the same place. But like north and south would just be from the center or away from the center. That's what I think.
Right, but on a sphere, if you're at the top, if you're at Antarctica, you're at the very north, and then you can go south, but you can go south in several directions. Whereas if you're in the middle of
that
the
don't
Earth,
work.
you can only go north, one way.
Man,
The
that's
north would just be straight top. It wouldn't work that way. Because if you're on the bottom, you wouldn't be going that way.
Fair enough. All right, well, we appreciate the call, man. Go back about your day, and we'll see if anybody else wants to call in. I just like hanging up. I just like hanging up.
Right, because you can't do that anymore. Hang up and
Yeah.
let somebody hear that.
Remember all the flip flops? You could slap it
Oh
shut?
yeah, oh yeah.
Wait,
I used to hang
wait.
up on people all the time. So from what he's saying, if it was flat and I guess Antarctica would be in the middle then, but on a flat Earth model, the ice wall is around the edge.
Well, Antarctica, I think you kind of, when you change the shape of the Earth, it changes where what we call Antarctica would be located. That would be the outer perimeter.
There's a few things that stick out to me. The first one is that NASA admits they do not have a picture of Earth that is one picture. Everything, admittedly by them, is a composite.
Correct.
So my first question is, why?
So the picture that they took of Earth from the moon, was that not one picture?
We got to touch on the Bedford Channel experiment for those who aren't familiar. Does everybody know what that is?
Negative.
Does anybody know what that is? Nobody knows?
I may not know the formal name, official.
So a long time ago, and I think they actually tried to recreate it. They had a guy at the Bedford Channel. They set up a telescope, and they basically did like a surveyor's
Oh, I was
stick.
just watching that on the way over here.
Yeah, they did a surveyor stick on a boat and had him just go as far as the telescope could see, and it never went down. And, you know, I don't know what the math is, 3 inches per mile, whatever it is, but
So light bends, light curves.
Oh, yeah.
So again, if we're on a ball and there's gravity and everything's pulling, maybe the light is pulling as well. So you could maybe shine a laser all the way around the world and still hit the same height level.
so why don't they do
But,
that? Do you think this would be easy to prove, like super easy
That's
to prove
what
this?
they got
Shoot
some
lasers.
powerful lasers.
So why
but
don't they do it?
But again, if the lasers do bend, then it's going to look like it's a flat Earth.
Isn't that what they use for surveying, though? I'm going to contradict you a little bit there. I mean, that's what they use for surveying, right? You do surveying stuff.
shoot
Don't
a
they
laser.
shoot lasers?
Now it's mostly GPS.
It's like, but I
Is
mean,
there a compensation for fall off?
I don't know that.
I guess they don't go. They're going to say, "Well, we don't go that far."
Yeah, it would. I mean,
what
if you're
they're gonna say.
surveying, 100 acres, you're not far enough. But I think you got to be something like 20 something miles before you start to see it.
And like I'm saying, I'm just throwing out some talking points. I know y'all have some stuff y'all want to bring up, but just a few of them I know. The hard ones, a lot of people always talk about the Bible verses. I know y'all know what they say about the corners. NASA to me is a big talking point. I feel like they do nothing but tell lies.
100%.
well, the firmament's in the Bible.
Right. So what is that?
It's the
is that the sky?
impenetrable dome that is over Earth, whether it's round or flat. But
Okay. So what are they referring to then? Like the air?
The Van Allen belt.
it's a layer. I really don't know the deep explanation of. I just know that even the Simpsons had it in a show, right? The rocket goes up and hits it and stops. So if that truly exists, and we're saying that we believe the Bible and what's in it, How are we getting past that with space shuttles? I think it makes that.
So a couple things on that.
We're not, yeah.
Right. So a couple of things on that. Operation Fishbowl comes to mind first.
Is that where they use the fisheye lens when they go up?
No,
No, I've heard of that.
that's where they
Exactly what it is.
They shot rockets into the firmament, didn't they?
they
Trying to pierce
detonated
it?
nuclear bombs at extreme high altitude, and they said they were testing. It's weird why call it fishbowl anyway, and they always talk about breaking out of the glass ceiling.
We have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think.
I've also heard that when the flood happened, that they said the windows of heaven were open, and that it's really water up there instead of space.
Right.
And that that's how it flooded. But the possibility is that we've been lied to. Proving it is a whole nother ballgame. You may or may not.
Tweeted something about trying to break through the firmament a couple of months ago.
So I think the argument they use for the firmament is the Van Allen belt, which is a thick, like radon, radioactive, just thick, like
Like a gas?
like a gas, right? So gas could easily create something. So, there's videos of them shooting a rocket and it goes up and then you see the tail of the fire, like it's curving and the rocket's moving. There's also a video. I couldn't find the video. I tried to look for it, where they sent a balloon all the way up and you see it go up there and literally just stop. But if there's a thick layer of something we don't understand, and that I believe that could stop it. And that's why they say when they do shoot a rocket into space, it's not like they just shoot it straight up and it goes into
You
space.
can watch them.
They got to curve.
That's
and they
for
got to
orbit.
hit that.
That's for orbit reasons.
Right. They got to hit that thing right, is what they're saying.
It was described as being created by God to divide the waters.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. The guy brings up in the video that if you look at the specs, the military's paperwork for the SR-71 Blackbird, it does not take into account. It basically says that the Earth is flat and non-rotating.
Correct. I've seen that.
It flies like, I forget how many thousands of miles an hour.
2,200.
Yeah, but it go like 800 miles in just a few seconds and doesn't calculate for curvature at all.
It just flies straight.
Yeah.
Which, if it was round, it would fly into outer space.
Yeah, and also they claim it's because of the fuel freezing and stuff, but once they get down around Antarctica, they don't fly above 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
So is it because they're trying to stay below the edge of the firmament, or
Hold on.
The only thing that anybody here will ever know about Antarctica is how to pronounce it. That's it.
So wait a minute. So you're telling me we can fly a rocket into space where it's like way colder than Antarctica and the fuel's fine, but we can't figure out how to get a helicopter or
Is that for real?
something?
yeah, they won't
can't
fly
fly
above
around?
11,000
So they
feet.
use I think they use solid fuels, different types of fuels.
I think something we should ponder is if we just make the assumption for a second that the Earth is flat, like the majority of human history believed. What is the motive of changing that narrative to around Earth?
That's the most interesting part about it. Like, why would you do that? Do you do
could
that
get-
to
you could
disprove
get
the Bible?
Real biblical about it, yeah.
Is that the only reason to disprove the Bible,
Yeah.
Personally, I think that the devil was behind that, and that's why they call it NASA, because NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
Yeah.
NASA is actually almost an anagram for Satan, missing the T. When you launch a rocket, they say T minus. The root word of planet is plane, which means straight.
Huh.
An airplane flies straight. It's an airplane.
Didn't somebody make that word up there?
Of course, but it means straight. They made it up for straight, not crooked.
In the early 1900s, man, we could tell people whatever we want and they'd probably believe us, right? But I just think there's too much technology, too many people with big telescopes, too many people with, lasers and all kinds of stuff. First of all, be very expensive because you got to think about all the scientists. As soon as they're like, oh, well, the Earth is flat. Oh, we got to pay this guy off. Who's paying for all this? Is that where NASA's budget's really going to just?
That's what they said it was created from in 19. I looked up Mark Sargent, and that's what I'm going to talk on. But they said they created NASA to keep it under wraps.
I think you have to look at all the evidence as a whole, ask the hard questions, and see what stands up to the scrutiny. So early on in my spiritual journey, when I was young in my faith, we had a Sunday school class where we did kind of the same thing. asked all the hard questions of all the different religions and see which one held up to the scrutiny. And I think on something like this, you have to do the same thing. See what can hold up to the scrutiny and what kind of stands out above the rest. We were introduced to a book in that Sunday school class. It was by Lee Strobel. It was called I Do Not Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist, because it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe what the Bible teaches about God. And I think that stands in this. I don't have enough faith to be a flat earther, because I think there's more evidence that proves hemispheres and that the earth is round, and that stands up to the scrutiny of the hard questions and doesn't just say, well, hey, they've been lying to us, whoever the mysterious they is, continuing to lie to us. I think the stars and astronomy goes a long way, in the moon itself, into pointing to hemispheres. And again, you can't have hemispheres if you don't have a sphere.
I'm going to go straight to Mark Sargent, and he was a competitive video game player, winning one virtual pinball tournament, and has worked as a software analysis, but has no scientific background. This is the guy that is leading the movement for Flat Earth. I don't know, man. It's tough. I like the thought of it, but when I went down this rabbit hole, Jason got me into it probably, what was that, about 10 years ago? And me and Jason, man, just par for the course. We're going back and forth, and he's sending me videos of a flashlight, and we're poking a hole and, trying to figure out all the stuff. We were generally trying to figure out ourselves.
I almost think we could really start the next civil war over flat versus spherical. Like, it's that intense.
Well, hang on. Actually, no, because another thing is there's only 2% of the world believe that the Earth is flat.
Well, I think a problem with that is it doesn't really affect you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, it doesn't flat around. Who the hell cares?
Yeah, so I mean, like, no one's really looking into it to discredit it.
I'm gonna have to argue that if it's flat and NASA's convinced all these people that it's spherical, then it's definitely affecting us, because how many trillions of dollars does NASA spend?
Oh, we're dumping money in it.
Who does that come from?
If it's flat, though, why is it flat and round? Is it round like a pizza?
Well,
because why isn't it square? Why isn't it triangle?
Mutually
Why isn't
exclusive.
it
You could be
round
flat and circular.
But
you're saying round.
Could be a
why did they pick
circular.
it? But if we're going to say it's flat, why isn't it as flat as this table? Why isn't it a rectangle? Why did we pick a round, flat object?
Pizza land.
Do they still have a little doubt that it's round, but it's just not the right kind of round?
Why does the Bible say 4 pillars, 4 corners?
4 corners there?
Right. So that would, to me, mean square rectangle versus a circle.
I take it as north, south, east, and west. That's what
I think it means.
That's
go
what
to
I
the
think.
outer reaches, go to the furthest points. I don't think it's necessarily even a direction. When they say go to the 4 corners, they're saying go to the furthest point that you can. Go to the outer reaches of the world. Go as far as you can and preach the gospel. They're not saying go to this corner, go to that
figurative.
corner.
It's
Exactly.
figurative.
You got to look at the figurative.
Okay.
It could be
narrative
as
of
simple
writing
as
itself.
It could be as simple as when they wrote it, they just thought they were on their little part of the world too. They didn't know that there was all these other continents and everything else.
All right, so here's one of the things that I'm holding on to, though, okay? Look, here's your Earth. It's level, right? Mm-hmm. Is that level?
No.
Not anymore, no.
So this ain't level? Okay, hold on. Are the ends of it level?
I think your perspective's a little off.
Well, I just want to know, are the ends of my level or not?
They appear to be.
If the middle is,
They
the ends
appear
are.
to be.
I mean, it
Is this level?
Oh, that's plumb when it's vertical. Like
that's
that.
plumb.
Well, how do they build skyscrapers in Australia?
Is it plumb level?
All right, here we go. First video up, Jamie submitted.
This plane, in and of itself, the SR-71, proves that we're not on an oblate spheroid that spins. The Lockheed can fly at a max height of Mach 3 and flies at an insanely high altitude. Now, if the Lockheed can go over 2,000 miles an hour, how much curvature should it have to account for to stay at the same altitude? Top speed, again, is 2,200 miles an hour. Let's just say there's 2,200 miles between point A and B. That would be 570 miles of curvature between the 2 points of reference. That'd mean that the Lockheed would have to be dipping 9.5 miles a minute, or 836 feet a second.
That's a pretty
see
bold
what
claim
NASA
there,
thinks.
guys. That's pretty bold what he's saying there.
For what amount of time can it travel that speed?
Oh, 2,200 miles an hour?
For how long?
Till it runs out of gas.
10
no.
seconds, 10 minutes, 10 hours?
No, it broke the record from Las Vegas to Washington, D.C. in under an hour.
And that's the thing is, it actually did it.
Yeah, that thing was getting done, and it actually it got so hot because of the friction that it grew like 10 inches in length.
That's why it leaked fuel.
That's why when they park it leaks fuel because they're accounting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was getting
So
it
it
done.
sounds like they can't fly it for real long then. 45.
An hour.
So how does a plane measure altitude anyway?
I guess air pressure. I don't
Does it
know.
send- exactly,
don't know.
barometric pressure. It doesn't actually send a sonar down to the
No.
ground and say, hey, you're 10,000 feet up.
Yeah, I think it's
It's
air
all
pressure.
according to barometric pressure.
I want to go back to the plane. You said it grew 10 inches.
In length. Oh.
So could I ride in this thing?
Well, hang on though. But so if the controls, we know there's a lot of stuff, flight controls, electronic stuff that keeps it course. I think most commercial airlines, the pilots don't fly it; they just sit there. It's auto, a lot of autopilot stuff.
Are you
like
leaning
that.
towards that it's dipping to stay at altitude?
I've read before that autopilot does have a calculation in there for the curvature of the Earth where they automatically adjust. I've heard that, and it's all according to what direction you're traveling.
Can we go back for a second to barometric pressure? If we're in an enclosed dome with a firmament, right? If it's enclosed, would that not mean that the air pressure would be the same at the top as it would at the bottom?
Same thing.
Water creates more pressure, and so if there's truly water above the firmament, that water is pressing against the firmament, which is creating the variance in pressure. Barometric. I don't know.
I don't think it's a dome right over top of the flat Earth. I think the firmament is a whole lot further out there and encompasses a whole lot more than people really realize.
The whole
I think so.
Milky Way?
Well, the Bible says that the stars are within the firmament as well. It also says that when the firmament was created, they called it the heavens.
It does say the water above, though.
Right.
So what is that talking about?
There's a lot that is not understood about the Bible,
Yeah.
but it will all be revealed.
I believe in Genesis, before God created the heavens and the earth, it said that He was hovering over the waters.
He was hovering over the face of the waters. That's
Right.
right. But he did create the heavens and the earth first.
Real quick, I want to draw y'all's attention to the TV. Jeff submitted this Pythagorean proof of curvature for a ball with a radius of 3959 miles. What did you just want to submit this as evidence?
That was just it goes along with one of the videos, but this was just showing there's a measurement. So like we were talking about with the plane, that's the scale it would have to use to correct itself to fly.
So here's the proof. When you look at this image right here, it says imaginary ball Earth. So there you go.
Well, this was a flat earther that showed this for sure.
All right. Well, let's hear about this pendulum, Josh. Have y'all heard about this pendulum theory?
Foucault's pendulum.
Okay.
It was created, I forget when.
How do I
but
spell this?
Some time ago. Foucault. That's a good question. It's a pendulum that hangs from a ball and socket.
Can we make one?
I'm sure you can if you make one big enough. But the theory is the pendulum swings on the ball and socket, the earth rotates under it, and it appears to spin. But it does it in such a methodical series method that you can calculate either if you're given the location, you can calculate how long it'll take for it to spin around, or if you're given the time it takes to spin around, they can tell you what longitude and latitude line you're on. But the one in the Smithsonian was there for years and years and years. It sits there methodically swinging back and forth. There's pegs all the way around the outside, and it'll slowly knock the pegs down as it spins. You can't actually see it spinning because it's so slow. But over a 24-hour period, and it's depending on where you are too. Like you said, the North Pole, 24 hours, but other places it takes longer or shorter, just depending on the axis and everything where you're at. But that supposedly proved the rotation of the Earth because there's no other force coming into play with that pendulum.
Okay, I'm following now.
Once
I'm
they turn it
tracking now.
loose and it's swinging,
Yes, it starts to rotate on
it
its own.
starts to rotate on its own. What
I was
is
trying to figure-
ironic is whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere dictates which way it spins.
Right. I think they
'Cause you're
used that a
upside
long
down.
time ago.
They
That's-
did. Yeah,
that's
this
when
was a
they
real
kinda come up
old
with
way to do it. It was put in the Smithsonian and stayed there for a long, long time.
Curveball time. Have we been to the moon?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no because we would have been back already. We would be going, man. We'd have more. We'd been built some up, like
Why
stuff up
hasn't a
there. Like we
telescope
wouldn't.
been able to see.
We
the
went
flags?
once and just kind of like, all right, that was good enough.
Look at this. This is a rocket launching into space, and somebody noticed that a rat or something was running around while he's launching in outer space. Look at this. Have you seen this, Jamie?
Yeah.
What is that running around on your spaceship in outer space, dude? There's something moving around out there, bro.
Space debris.
Space rat.
What they ended up saying that was some sort of like ice formation. And since that's circular, it just got caught in there and it moved.
There's always an explanation.
Always, yeah.
So yeah, it's all good.
All right, so rocket launches, that kind of brings me to Elon Musk. What does everybody think about
The
him? Is he
spaceship.
deceptive?
The
or is he honest?
starship.
Well, what about something as simple as Starlink?
If
What do y'all
he's
think
not,
about Starlink satellites?
you can see.
I think
it in
satellites exist.
space.
I think
like
you can
7,000 of those, and you
Local.
can even go on a
Local.
well, you
Local
can go
orbit.
on an app that tracks them.
That's our go-to answer is local.
local orbit.
Yeah, they're like within.
Yeah.
So there's 7,000 of them just going in circles.
You said
That's
the
what they
firmament
say.
was big, so it's within there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree they're within the firmament.
So why are they trying to crack it though? Why are they nuclearing it, trying to open it up?
I don't think that they can even reach it, see it, much less touch it.
Well, it's like the Tower of Babel, but the idiots will try.
I want to throw one out there.
Yep.
The
I think we need to look
ocean,
at the Mars thing too.
the ocean's water. What holds water to the? If we admit round and upside down, why isn't the water falling off the bottom of the earth?
Spin and the gravity.
And I mean, I'm a round Earth guy. I'm just saying, like that one's always really intriguing to me.
Water
like the water.
water is a true level too. It's supposed to find level, not be curved.
Everybody says water can't curve, but what is a bead of water?
Yeah, but if you give
Solid
10 more
liquid
beads
gas.
with it and you start putting some more water with it, then it don't do that anymore.
Very fluid conversation.
Man, I need some.
Pull up that Mars one because I just think it's interesting. They say they have a rover on Mars. So first off, this rover they sent to Mars was only supposed to last like, I don't know, a couple years, and it's been like 10 years.
Just minding my own business, looking at Google Earth, and this big snow-covered monstrosity is staring me in the face like, why is that covered in snow? I look into Ireland and some other areas around it, Iceland. Ireland gets snow only once a year, 1 day a year. So I keep digging a little bit deeper, and I finally get underneath this cloud cover here, and a few images pop up. And I say, oh, images, what are they? Well, this is what you got, which I'm sure that looks familiar to you, right? Looks just like the pictures they give us of Mars. So I'm just kind of creeping around here and definitely noticing the same kind of undulation changes and same kind of rock, same kind of dirt. Only thing that's missing is that nice little red tint that they pay somebody $150,000 a year to put on there. But those mountains, those rocks, definitely exactly like we see on Mars. So I said, I wonder what they're doing out here. What is all this equipment for? I'm sure it can't be NASA, right? Whose orange Hummers is?
What?
Okay.
Are
that
you
looks
serious?
well, let's
Now
do
that
a little
is
further because I can't
pretty,
really see anything on here other than
just wait.
certainly looks like a NASA symbol. And I can't read that. Tried. So this one here said, roving the Arctic. So what is that? Doesn't make any sense. Pop in here. See if we can find anything. Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who knows? Zoom in. What's that? Oh, nothing. Just looked like it was funny. So I'll keep kind of going through here and see if it... What the...
That.
You kidding me, man?
Don't they have to test it though?
Yes,
Don't-
but,
I mean,
but hold on.
Don't they test it on Earth first?
They literally take a picture of Mars, and they take a picture from there. Everything, there's a kind of a big mountain in the background.
Yeah.
Everything's the same. The two
I'm not saying
little
it's
rocks,
not. I'm not saying
everything's
it's
the same.
plausible, but wouldn't you want to go test it out at the same place that you're going to be shooting it to? I mean, I'm just
Right, but-
saying, like,
But would you use the video of that place and sell it as Mars
You should
video?
look up
Could
sky
be.
ice
Could
real
be.
quick.
What?
Sky ice.
What's sky?
What a lot of people say about the moon landing.
Check it out.
They say, well, they lost the footage, so they refilmed it on Earth.
We're getting low on our time, so let's go around.
I haven't really seen anything that sways me away from thinking it's flat.
I know that our government is very deceptive And they have lied to us about a lot of things, but this one, I think I'm going to say the Earth is probably round.
I think the only thing this podcast did today is prove that we don't know a damn thing.
Two facts that are hard to dispute. The Antarctic yacht race, where they circumnavigate Antarctica, 150 boats annually every year. I think one of those guys, captains in those boats would say, hey, we're turning away from Antarctica instead of towards it. And then the TFE, the final experiment, where they literally filmed in 2024, they filmed 24 hours of sun in Antarctica, which is entirely and completely impossible on your pizza world.
I love the subject. I love talking about things outside of the box, outside the norm. It sparks thought. This has been more of kind of like a science experiment, that's what it is. And I just love talking about it either way. And nobody sitting at this table or on this planet can prove it one way or the other. And if they can, we'll never know it. But I generally just like the topic of flat Earth because it creates thought.
Take me on out of here, Dan.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Down the Rabbit Hole podcast. Check us out next week when we talk about some more crazy stuff. Please don't think we're all crazy morons because we're talking about flat Earth and the spherical Earth. We just like to talk about the controversial stuff that nobody really talks about. Now we're getting to the bottom of it.